Hey, Rod.
Hey, 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 Joey
Roderick.
Pantoliano. Hey, TDF fans. I am Rodrick Covington.
And I am Joe Pantoliano, but my friends call me Joey Pants. Hey, TDF, thank you for having us. And I'm very excited about
Yes,
doing this with y'all.
yes. And I play Little Richard, who embodied early rock and roll.
He was the inventor, the creator, the innovator, the architect. And I play Leo Mintz in the first act, and I play Morris Moisha Levy in New York.
Yes,
Is
yes.
there? I don't see any questions.
Well, I
For
have the
those of you,
questions.
oh,
I
you
have the
do.
questions. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, um, the questions are, what are the questions? No, I don't see. Oh, okay. So
Well,
Rock and Roll Man had two regional developmental productions before arriving to New York City. So, Joey, can you tell us how did you become involved with the show?
I had no idea about the regional
Yeah,
development,
yeah,
although that's very, very normal and way to go. And it's like out of town tryouts that they used to do in the 30s and 40s when they didn't have regional theaters. So I got a call from my agent who said they're doing this. So I met with Rose Kiola and Randy Meyer, and we had a great lunch, and they explained everything to me, and
yeah.
she can talk you into anything.
Yeah, yeah, she can. I mean, like she is definitely one of the reasons why I decided to join the cast. Which my agent stayed. I had to audition. I didn't get it wasn't an offer. I had to audition like the regular folk. And I was like, I don't know, because Little Richard, he's an icon. Everybody knows who he is, and I mean, it's really stepping into huge shoes to share a part of this man's story, even though the show is not about Little Richard at all. It's just anything Little Richard does and is a part of, is Little Richard. He don't make it about who he is. And but Rose, just I mean, her energy, her presence, I mean, she got me, as well as Miss V, because Miss V, she did do the out of town tryouts, both of them. And I called her and I was like, what is this? What's going on? Like, and she gave me the tea, and she told me about Rose. She was like, you're gonna love her. And like, it's Rose all day for me.
Speaking of V, she's magnificent and
Oh,
beautiful. And I hear, if I look at my notes here, I hear that you and V had a thing back in the day.
you know what? Miss B is gonna kill you. It was we met 20 years ago on the streets of New York, and we met, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And she was like, and she was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I know you ain't into me, but how you doing? And we've been friends ever since.
Oh,
She was become a client. Her and her husband, both
uh,
are clients. In my company. That's why you see all this stuff back here, because I'm at my
yeah, tell them
office.
what you do.
I am the
Tell
owner
them.
of Core Rhythm Fitness. The owner of Core Rhythm Fitness is a wellness space that specializes in mind, body, spirit transformation.
Yeah. And Rod's very honest and spiritual about this because Roderick looked at me and said, "You're untrainable. Save your money."
I can't with you. Oh my
Uh,
God. So Joey, were you fans of early rock and roll before joining the show? And has Rock and Roll Man introduced you to any new artists or songs?
well, no, to the answer to your first question, but in the early 70s, I started working in show business, and I was somewhere, uh, I think I was in Atlanta, and there
Mm,
was a rock and roll revival with, and I got to see Little Richard, Bo Diddley,
what?
Chuck Berry, a lot of the guys from the original Alan Freed shows. And it was extraordinary. It was extraordinary. And Richard, the night that I saw it, Richard was like he literally took all of his clothes on. He had a black cape and he stripped down naked And I don't know if it was part of the act, but his bodyguards like came and they threw the cape over him to cover his private parts,
Wow.
and they carried him off the stage. It was electrifying, and that was really my first introduction. I must have been 21. I was into rhythm and blues and Arthur Conley and uh, a lot of the Motown sounds before and during the Beatles. But that was what rock and roll, like the hard rock, the Stones. That was too much for me. I never got into it.
Yeah, yeah, same. I knew a lot of Little Richard and Chuck Berry, but I did not know about the chords or Laverne Baker. Like
Mhm.
I didn't know, and I also didn't know before this that Little Richard was the actual like architect of rock and roll. Like I didn't know that until this show and then doing the research and his story. This show has definitely opened up a whole world of like music and what it's done to honestly our nation, our world, because like with
Yeah.
Alan Freed, I didn't know about him. I had no idea who Alan Freed was before this show. So this show is definitely like it's entertaining, but it's also a history lesson, which I
Right.
really appreciate.
And the evolution all the way to hip hop as it stands today. It's
Yes.
all that when my character for the end of the play, Leo, Alan says, I guess I was wrong about all of this, and Leo says, no, no, you were right, and you'll see. The idea
Yeah.
is that the evolution continues. It continues, it ebbs and flows, and
Hmm.
you even like when I saw Chuck Berry, that was when it was the Jackson Five, and Michael was just the little kid of that. But even the moves that Chuck was making was a introduction to an older Michael Jackson when he started doing the moonwalk.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good stuff. So, do you feel a special responsibility playing real life people
Uh,
as you play, Morris Lady, who is,
fuck no, no, fuck. This is actually I met I met Leo Mintz's great grandson last night. He came to see the show, and
what?
I always get a little nervous that I'm going to disappoint family members. But uh, you know, as far as responsibility to the characters, this is a highly theatrical. They may use the same, the same names of the people that are in this piece, but I feel a higher responsibility to my audience and to entertain,
Mm,
and
mm-hmm.
also personally, just for the acting part of it, is to be able to be as different as I can, have those two characters be as distant and different as possible.
And you do, an incredible job. I had people come last night, Joey, and they didn't even know that you played the same characters. They didn't even
Yeah.
know that you played both Leo and Morris. They were literally flabbergasted when you came out and was like, wait, what? You like you body it, like you kill it. As far as Little Richard, after doing the show, doing the research, reading his book, and seeing the documentaries, I do feel a responsibility in like because it's not the literature story at all. It's just his likeness, his name, but I do feel a responsibility, especially when it comes to like I'm gonna say it, like white people, white Jewish people writing and then using the likeness and the faces of like black icons, right? And I feel a responsibility and just like not getting it right, but just being like, he was so real, and so and then everyone knows his isms, and I mean, like he was a Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius. He had 11 brothers and sisters. I got 18 brothers and sisters. He was from the South. I'm from the South. And he's black and queer, and I'm black and queer. He's loud, and I can be. And so while there are a lot of parallels, he still has like iconic isms that I do feel a responsibility, but at the same time, I want it to be grounded in authenticity and truth, as opposed to like a put on or a caricature. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I my hope is just, that Little Richard is up in heaven, like proud that, his likeness is being shared in an honest way.
I'm sure he is. Also, you just mentioned something about uh, being black and queer in 2023 is way different than,
Very
than
right.
Richard or Liberace. I mean, I
Oh,
grew up, watching Liberace on television. I didn't know that he was gay, and they made movies. And, he had always had a girlfriend and a wife, and
mm-hmm.
do you think, you know, we, especially entertainers, right? We
Right.
create a character. We build a character based on, I think, some of the traumas as a kid. Like when I was bullied as a kid. I don't think it's an accident. As an adult, I play a lot of tough guys. Um,
Wow.
I think that because I couldn't, as a kid, stand up for myself, that I built this character to get even with all the kids that smacked me around. And
Makes
and I
sense.
think Richard was also
Yes,
bullied as a
he
as
was
a kid,
bullied a
and
lot.
being so religious. So
Yep.
I want to know if you identify with that, and how you were at the forefront I don't know if this is the right word. Forgive me if it's the wrong word, but being militantly uh, ingrained in who you were, and fuck anybody that wouldn't accept you.
Man, Joey, it almost brings tears to my eyes, man, because like, wow, huh. Yeah, man. I mean, I was bullied a lot, just the same way as Little Richard was bullied a lot, the same way that he was also, verbally and physically abused by his father. I was verbally abused by one of my brothers. He was kicked out. I've been on my own ever since I was 15. I mean, there are a lot of parallels that kind of scare me, to be honest, because while it is definitely, like Little Richard, there is so much about him that I identify, even the, Christian aspect of, like, he went back into the closet because he, was struggling with his sexual orientation. I mean, rightfully so. In the 50s, he's one of the only, black queer people he was out. And then he went back, he went into the closet, and they came out again, went back in. And there was a time in my life, where I was a part of an ex-gay ministry, where I was trying to, pray and fast the gay away. I was also in therapy. I had a girlfriend, a fiance, where, I would tell her, I say, hey, baby, anytime you see me acting feminine, pop my hand. And it was this teaching and this belief that I am an abomination. And I know that Little Richard believed that same thing. That's why at the height of his career, he retired. This man retired and threw away all of his jewelry and was like, that's it. Because, he was struggling with just being accepted, and I remember going through that part of my life, and I just hated myself. I hated myself. And I'm so grateful that people like Little Richard, has gone through all of, just the really difficult hard times of being queer, to have us here now. And we still have so much more to go, especially with, laws introducing, that, you can't even say gay in Florida, and all these laws against, like, transgender people and drag people. I mean, that's just laws against queer people, where it's just like all coming back, and so I think this is a really important story, to really show people that, like, regardless of who you are, let people live and be who they are. It makes us all the better.
Yeah, the parallels of what's going on in our world today, uh, uh, targeting LGBTQ people, but also to what's going on today is very similar to the anti black
Rock and roll.
movement, rock and roll movement.
Yep,
It's very similar. A lot of people are
it
saying
is.
it, and I found, just after the first preview, since the first performance, as you know, we've been getting standing ovations. But when I see people crying when they're standing up, because we're so
Yeah,
close. The other
yeah.
thing, folks, if you're watching this and I hope you are. You have to understand that we're doing an off-Broadway show, but we're giving you a Broadway show off Broadway. So you're getting to see a full-on Broadway performance show package for off-Broadway prices, and that's a big deal.
Yep, that's great, Joey. Wow. So Rock and Roll Man features many iconic songs, including Tutti Frutti, Great Balls of Fire, and Why Do Fools Fall in Love? Have there been any memorable audience sing-alongs or reactions, Joey?
Yeah, last night I noticed with Bo, Doc, Eric B, who plays Bo Diddley, when he was singing the Bo Diddley song, Hey Bo Diddley, the audience was screaming. They were screaming back. They were singing back, weren't they?
Yeah,
and that's happening every night. It's becoming more and more audience participation.
Yeah, and that's what I love about this show is that, like the fourth wall gets removed where the audience is a part of the show. The audience is actually a part of the show having a great time. If you want to have a great time, come to Rock and Roll Man, baby.
Yeah, and also the audience in this, as it's established in the beginning of the play, there's a court of public opinion, a kangaroo court set up to convict Alan Freed. But the audience is the jury.
Yeah.
So when you're presenting your case and Hoover's presenting his case, it's to the audience.
Yeah, it's so good. So good. Your characters have lots of wonderfully outrageous bits. What's your favorite moment to perform in the show, Joe?
That's for me. I get a kick out of I like singing. I like the fact that I get to sing Morris in the top of the act too. I get a kick out of that, and I feel like Sinatra or Dean Martin because I'm surrounded up by all of these beautiful dancers and the girls. The girls flirt with me. Natalie. Natalie will give me a wink.
She's amazing.
And it's so fun. And you have to understand, I've never done this. I've never had a band. I didn't know about timing. Thank God, Connie, when Stephanie, our choreographer, or Dave Keys, our music director, they would give me notes. It's all so mathematical. Doing these, they go on 6. I'm like, the fuck are they talking about? And I would look at Connie during rehearsals, like, SOS, sending up smoke signals. What the fuck did that just mean? And he would always do it so respectfully. He just whispered, what they're saying to you now is faster, slower, shut the fuck up.
You would never know because you crush it every time, man. You just crush it in rehearsals. You crush it now. That is an amazing moment, to see you and hear you sing, Joey. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I guess one of my favorite moments in the show, and it's so funny that they call it bits because I was literally, talking to the writers and the directors, like, I don't want to do these bits. I don't want to do these bits, because I'm a human. I ain't no bit. But one of the moments which I hated in rehearsals, but it's become to be, one of the favorites is the Dairy Queen.
Oh my God, that's a showstopper. That's everybody. That's their favorite thing. I've been reading all of the twits and what we're building, and that's their favorite thing. And also the metaphors of it.
Yeah, the metaphor.
It's wonderful because you're talking about some people like chocolate and some people like vanilla, and and Dairy Queen mixes it up, and a lot of people don't like that.
Come on,
it's great.
Yeah.
You're great. You're great in it. You're fantastic. And every night I'm in the corner, and you have to exit stage right with your Dairy Queen cart, and I'm always like, fucking rocked it tonight. You killed it tonight. We had, opening night, we had the mayor of New York City come and during the first act, I made an exit. I'm going to my dressing room and there's like 6 or 7 on plainclothes cops there. You can tell they're cops because they got walkie-talkies and earpieces. And I said, you guys are cops? And they said, yes. And I said, well, I want you to make arrest. They said, what? I said, Rodrick Covington, you have to arrest him. He's stealing the show.
I can't. I cannot. It says the thief himself. Glory G. I cannot. Oh my God. Oh, you give this your best Constantine story. Go.
Well, Connie, you, we have a dressing room. This is
Mm-hmm.
this is an old movie house that they turned into a legit stage, and so we have a dressing room that has what do you call it, like a styrofoam wall that they created a very large dressing room, and they put a styrofoam wall up so that it's like the four of us. It's Doc and Rod and Joey and Connie's in the corner, and they got these two costume racks because there's nowhere to hang it, and those costume racks are in there, and so we literally at any given moment we have about, I don't know, a foot and a half between us, and so. First couple of days during previews, Connie was putting on his shoe and he leaned on the wall because by then you think it's a wall.
Right.
And all of a sudden the wall started giving way and you could hear the echoes. On the other side of that wall, there's like 5 actors with mirrors that are looking into it. And it was like,
Right.
it was like earthquake. All of a sudden the whole place was coming apart. And oh God, we were crying tears of joy. It was so funny. And Connie's just a wonderful performer and a good
Yeah.
guy. And, to have 4 people in a little room like that, thank God we get along.
Yeah. Yeah. Love, 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 love. Love those guys. Alan Freed's story wasn't just about rock and roll. It was about fighting racism by bringing folks together through music. What message do you hope audiences take away from the show? And I say it every night, Joey, that line that, is in one of the final scenes when I say, we need each other, Al. Every movement, every major movement in this nation, when it comes to liberation, it takes Black, white, Asian, Latino, like it takes all of us, moving in the same direction, not just Black people, not just Asian people, not just white people. It takes us together to actually move the needle, especially when it comes to liberation. I mean, we are all better when we are fighting for each other as opposed to against each other. And so I hope that the message that people can take home after seeing this show is that when it comes to liberation, we have to do it together. And so when you see your Black brothers and sisters, getting killed out in the streets by the cops or getting arrested, for nothing, or our, queer brothers and sisters and transgendered and dragged, being, outlawed, like to go and stand for those people, go and protest or go and vote and go and, be the change that we need in the world. Because if you don't, then it's not going to happen. And just because it's not in your background, your backyard, it's not happening to you, it could be happening to your son or your daughter or somewhere along the line.
Yep. One thing that I just want people to be entertained, and leave with a smile on their face and tell their friends to come and see this thing, and to be reminded, if anything, I was reminded about the bigotry of we humans. We're very tribal, and there's a tremendous need to be a part of something. And what I notice with our amazing staff and our backstage kids, I thought about this. I don't know how true it is, but I feel like everybody in that building, everybody in the arts, we all had a dream. And some of us have been lucky enough or lucky are to be able to fulfill that dream. And what I'm noticing is when our show starts, that the kids that that have a moment, they're looking at the TV monitors that is showing the show, because you can hear the show, and they've practiced and learned all the dance moves, and they're singing along. And I literally missed a cue because I was watching that big number, King of the World, and I was so raptured by it that I missed my cue. So the idea that we misfits, that the arts provided us with our own tribe. And so in terms of supporting all of the things, my idea would be also, if you can, to support the mega group, the magas, and teach them to sing and teach them to dance. And by doing that, you can demagify them, just like they had to do with the Nazis, the denazification, by singing a song. And every time I sing a song or learn a dance movement, I'm a little bit less angry. And as I discovered doing this, is that it's really hard to be depressed when you're singing.
That's good, Joey. Musicals are synonymous with Broadway, but Rock and Roll Man is off Broadway at New World stages. What makes seeing a musical beyond Broadway so special, Joey? I think you already said it.
It's cheaper. It's way cheaper. And we're in the heart of Broadway. I mean, we're in a building that's in the heart of Broadway. And there's a lot of there's a lot other shows in that building. Like my 3-year-old twins, my daughter Melody, and my 4 grandboys are coming to New York with her husband Matt. And the 10-year-old and the 11-year-old will see Rock and Roll Man with their mom and dad. But the younger ones are going to see the Bubble Show down the hall.
Oh, wow.
The 3-year with their Auntie Danny. So I think it's and also that, what do you call that where the fountain is? An atrium, or what do you call that thing?
It's an
outdoor thing that has all the restaurants.
It's called the Outdoor World Square.
Yeah, that World Square is amazing. You can get food to eat. You can, you get to, meet people, and there's a lot of performers from all over the Broadway area. So I love it, and I think they should see it now before we get moved to Broadway. But it's the difference between 1,100 seats and 500 seats is the only difference, and it's 60% savings.
Yeah, and it's also much more intimate. What's the best deal you ever got at the TKTS booth, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary this June? Congratulations, TKTS.
Yes.
I think the best one I ever received, Joey, the best deal I ever received at the TKTS. Ooh, I actually got a 2 Hamilton tickets. 2 Hamilton tickets. It was half off. You know how much Hamilton tickets cost. But they had it. They had it half off, baby. That same day, and I got it. And I saw Hamilton for the 8th time.
Okay, so I'm pre-Tix, right? I came to New York in 1970 before they invented tickets. And so the best deal I ever got was how I learned to second act shows. I saw Cliff Gorman and Lenny, and I had to scratch up enough money. And so what I would do is I would sneak down, I'd buy balcony tickets, and then I would see the empty seats, and I would sneak down in the second act. But after seeing Lenny, which is the greatest performance I ever saw was Cliff Gorman, I second acted that show 7 more times because I couldn't afford to see it. So Tix, when it was invented and it came to fruition, it saved me from being a petty larcenist. I could actually afford to go see. And I think Lenny was the first show that I was able to buy Tix at Tix. And then I remember they used to do big preview discounts. I got to see Anthony Hopkins and Equus before it opened. I tell you, I saw that was an amazing play, and I saw Anthony Hopkins, of course. Then I saw Anthony Perkins, and then Richard Burton was going in. And I got to say, it was a a life lesson. It's a performing artist life lesson. I went to see Burton. I second acted him
Hmm.
because he was expensive. But Burton, his performance compared to Hopkins was wooden and almost lifeless. But I've
Mm,
never seen charisma come out of a performer, out of an artist. He had a light within him. He glowed.
mm,
He glowed. I never saw it to this day. I've never seen it again.
mm. Wow. Final question. Be each other's casting directors. Oh, what role would you put the other person in? If I was a casting director on Broadway, I would love to see Joey Pantoliano play the wizard in Wicked. I would love to see you play the wizard in Wicked. Oh,
I
that would
would
be
love to
great.
do
Have you
it.
seen?
No, no, but if the Rocker Boys are watching, I'm available in about 9 months. Eh, I I would like to see, you know, I'd love to see you in a like the movie Boys in the Hood. I'd like you to see you in that those dark, emotional, um, um, broken souls that are so riveting. Like
Mm,
I put you up there with Fishburne and Sam Jackson. So those are the kinds of roles that they cut their teeth
mm.
on.
Thank you, man. Wow, this was great, JP.
Oh, also the reason why I wanted to do this with you, Roderick, before we finish, is that Roderick is a method musical theater performer. So he's Richard. He doesn't talk to you. So I wanted to have the pleasure of meeting him off stage.
I cannot with you. Oh my God.
This
Thank
is
you
so
so
much
much.
fun. Thank you. I'm glad we did it, and thank you. Can you guys hear that bell? Because um, I'm sorry about that. If you could, thank you all. Thank you, TDF. And
Yes, thank you,
I'm a
TDF.
member. I'm a member, TDF. I am a member. It cost me $63 a year. Do I get a discount now that we did this?
Yes. My clients are members of TDF, and I told them I was doing this interview with TDF. They're like, "Oh, good, 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 good." It was like Rock and Roll Man is already on TDF. I was like, "I know."
Thank y'all.
Thank you all. Thank you, Nick and Raven.